When you're ready with your cards, just hold them up. I'll come and get them.
And Josephine, thank you for coming tonight. Jan, thank you for coming tonight to the forum. And Josephine, let's go first. Or Jan?
Sure, whatever you like.
We can't hear you.
I'm over 50, so I need glasses now. So that's where it is.
There's a few of us.
Yeah, don't get very far without it. First off, everyone can hear me. I project, right? We're good. Thank you. You know, I think this is an important forum. You are now the only forum when the board comes up. So I want to thank this chapter for keeping it going, because it's one of the few ways that we can communicate when an election's coming up. By way of myself, I know a lot of people in the room, but not everybody. So my name's Josephine Botita. I'm currently on the board. It's not quite 4 years yet, but it's close. My seat's up now. I'm from Malvern. I've lived in Malvern for 25 years. I have 2 children in the district. I have a 5th grader and a 9th grader. I'm very proud of this district. I like to embrace the diversity. I think that is a good thing among the other things that we continue to do. And I guess why I seek to be a board member again is that it took me a couple of years to learn what's going on and the role to begin with. And now I think that I'm very confident in saying that my skill set, the things that I believe in, positively impact the board. From central administration to the teachers, to my fellow board members, to this district, to which this is, one part of the community. And by way of background, in addition to being a board member, I've been involved with the school districts for years prior to that. I hold my law degree from St. John's University. I have my master's in social work from Adelphi University. I'm involved with healthcare as my profession, human resources, and insurance and labor management. So I think that skill set also lends itself well to being a board member. So thank you.
Thank you. Jan?
Good evening, my name is Jan Kasal. First I ask, since I'm here on an annual basis, is there someone who really didn't see me last year here? No? Everybody saw me. This is my 3rd year here. I live in Malvern for 21 years now, and I'm involved in community in many matters. I am a member of Malvern Educational and Fitness Foundation. I am part of Malvern 5K. I am a coach at CYO. I am involved in educational matters on the state level with parents that created sort of grassroots organizations, not only in our state, but across the country. And so I'm keeping abreast of educational matters. Now, I don't have any impact on the board itself as Mrs. Bodita, but I am concentrating more on the community. For the past 3 years, as you can remember, I'm trying to emphasize that it's parents' involvement in school matters that can change the situation. As you know, the education is in turmoil, not only in New York State, but it is parents who are leading those changes. Even though the reformers started it, they didn't ask for that support by parents, and it is not paying off. That's community, the parents are really important. The boards are helpless without the help of parents. You can see there were many boards threatening, sending letters, do not opt out. It didn't help. And that can, or this shows not only in opt-out movement, the boards, the administrators start to see that without parents they can't handle the situation. So, it's slowly growing, and I have been emphasizing this fact for the past 2 years at least. Oh, that was limited?
3 minutes, yes. And the questions will be limited to 2 minutes.
All right.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
Questions?
Both candidates are here too, so I'll go to Jan first and then Josephine. Zoe. Okay. What will you do to diversity in the teaching staff? What will you do, I guess, have more diversity in the teaching staff? So Jan, would you like to go first?
What I would do, as outsider, it's really difficult for me, but I hear it every year here. I can't imagine how would you diversify without firing another, like replacement teacher. It's impossible. So it would have to be only as attrition. When some teacher goes to retirement, then you can hire. But then how do you want to present it? Because we have 60% of black students. Does it have to be black for that reason? I don't think you can word it that way. So, as I am not in these matters, I really don't know how to solve it. But as I told you, if parents set their mind on it, something will happen. But it has to be communicated.
Thank you.
With that.
Joey?
I think this district is obligated to being sensitive to the diversity in the district. It's one of the things that, I embrace and respect. And over the past couple of years since I've been on the board, there hasn't been a lot of hiring, like Mr. Cassell said, because of attrition. But unfortunately, this year, some of us aren't staying with us, and I've been blessed to have my 2 children had mistakes as one, and I don't mean to embarrass you in any way. I say that out of respect. But at the last board meeting, I talked about how we were going to recruit that, and that at the forefront has to make sure that we enter into channels that recruit from diversity, recruit minorities, whether black, another nationality or national origin, male, female, gender. I think that it's good to have role models across the board. And that, probably by way of coincidence, that there are a number of teachers retiring this year who are minorities, and that is something that is certainly at my mind. And then who do we recruit coming in? I also want to share something, be very real though, because I have learned over the past 3 years of board, and what we find sometimes, not all the times, and it's certainly not a reason not to recruit and or hire, but there are minorities that don't want to come to our school district because they don't want to feel pigeonholed coming into a district that's predominantly minority. And I share that with you, just to understand the balance of it. It's not as straightforward as one would think. So we've had in the past candidates minority candidates who've chosen not to take the job. So that's one of the challenges. It's not a reason not to hire, but I do want to express to you that that's part of what goes on behind the scenes, so to speak. But personally, and I can say on behalf of my board members, when we found out about a month ago on people who were retiring or losing the district, one of the first questions was, how are we going to recruit with diversity in mind, with minorities in mind, in filling those positions? So.
I just wanted to make a comment as a former teacher here,
Mhm.
an administrator, and a board member. The board has the last say on whoever is presented to them by the superintendent. So it is not that minorities do not apply to this district. Minorities apply and never make it, okay, on a recommendation piece for whatever reason. I know that absolutely to be a fact. I can point names, etc., who are not only qualified, all right, who have graduated from the school district. We have a number of Caucasians that have graduated from the school district that seem to get the job, all right, but it never goes beyond, all right, the building principal or the department chairperson to even get that name, all right, to the board. So there are people who are interested, who have been interested, who now are no longer interested because it stops right then and there. That's my comment.
I'll definitely take it back, you know, because you know I sit on the board.
Okay, this is for both candidates. Joey, I'll ask you first. Will you come back to Lakeview after you are elected? For each candidate. Get that question. Will you come back to Lakeview after you are elected?
You know, I'm not 100% sure what that means. I come to this because I was invited. If there's, I try to participate in the school functions, which are tri-community. I don't know if they're specific to one community as opposed to another, but I can't think of, I haven't been invited to that I haven't attended, if I can otherwise make it or I'm not working or, you know, something along those lines. So, you know, I support the district, and the district is, you know, made up of Lakeview, you know, parts of Lynbrook and parts of Falmouth. That's what I'm here for.
As I said in my introductory speech, I'm here on an annual basis, and I don't see reason why I wouldn't come even when I'm not running for an election. I'm running through Lakeview many times. I know a lot of parents. I'll be more than happy to come when I know about some event and I'm invited.
Thank you. Okay. Jan, I'll come to you this time and say, what happens to students who opt out of Common Core in terms of academic records and college admissions?
It is probably, it depends on the grade, but in general I would say absolutely nothing. In New York State, New York City is a little different. They had some stricter rules. They couldn't opt out, but with the election or appointment of new chancellor last year, it got solved for this year. So they had many more opt-outs. So I would say probably the most critical is 8th grade with regions. You cannot opt out of that. And I'm not sure about science tests, how it works, but there are no problems with opting out. It's just one test. You read the newspaper, even for some reason, instead of repeating his lies, how it is important. He just said there's no effect on children. It's just practice. You know that practice costs our district $400,000 and wasted time. 3 months just preparation. Saturday morning, nothing but test preparation, and this is the practice.
Thank you. Jody, you want to repeat the question?
It's about opting out, right, and it's effect on
Yeah,
the
what
children,
happens to the
other
students
students.
who opt out
Yeah.
of Common Core?
So, this is clearly, Common Core is clearly a political issue, and it's a public issue. I don't personally see it as a board member, an issue in that we are limited in what a board can do. It's a disgrace that this country is ranked 17th, last I looked, globally in education. And I think that from a political standpoint, you know, whether it's President Obama or whether it's Governor Cuomo, there's good intent in wanting to raise the bar, so to speak, for education and our success in this country. That said, I have a 5th and a 9th grader, and my children have gone through it too, and and the testing is hard, and it's cumbersome, and it does cost a lot of money. But as a board member, we have to be careful too, because there's state aid tied to this, and that's part of the political agenda, of which I didn't start, the board didn't start. And as much as we may have spent, and I don't know that is completely accurate, $400,000, I can tell you this year, if we were penalized, it'd be roughly $565,000. You lose potentially your state aid by not making compliance of 95%. We didn't make it this year. There were some classes last year. That's the threat. That's the threat. Now, whether Governor Cuomo delivers on that, I don't know. I know I don't want Malvern to be the test case. I'm glad that we're not, because there's other districts come this year that have now not made that grade for 3 years. So let's see what they do to them, not us. I personally don't like that it's tied to teacher evaluations. I don't think that that's fair. And by way of how it serves the children, Governor Cuomo has said that for the first 5 years, it doesn't count for the children. Because the state education department, according to his words, did not roll this out in an effective way. So I don't, but whether it counts as a grade or whether it impacts their ability, and the pressure of testing, clearly it impacts their ability and pressure of testing.
This is for both candidates. Okay? The educational statistics for our community's African-American young men is extremely bad. As a result of educational problems for their young men, their job opportunities are very slim, especially in very competitive job markets. Is the school board doing anything or planning anything to help improve the job opportunities for them? That would be referring to African-American young men. So,
I don't know.
John, I think it's John.
Okay, I don't know.
Yeah, I think so.
What does the board do about it? I really don't know, but I even don't know the statistics. If the situation is bad, then again, I would say it is in your power to let the board know, and the whole community, not just the board. I go to the school board meetings, there are always parents only when there is complaint. But, getting involved, like with this job situation, there are many districts who are also 60–70% minorities. Look at their experience, and maybe you'll find out. This is, I go to educational conferences for parents and teachers and administrators together, and it's all about parental involvement. And if, the board is just parents who work 9 to 5, or they have odd jobs as well. They don't follow the situation. If you know about it, you need to put your heads together and create something. For example, implementing from some other district across the state what they were successful with, and bring it to the board attention as a suggestion, not complaint. And then the board can do something with that. I know it's difficult after decades when, state is still sending just mandates and mandates. State won't solve anything. And I think with this movement of parents, a lot of good things will surface to the top.
Thank you.
Well, I absolutely agree with Jan that the more parents can come forward to board meetings and otherwise communicate with ideas is always a good thing. And that unfortunately board meetings are usually people who have complaints or recognizing teachers and students for their achievement. So it's from one extreme to the other, it seems like. But that said, you know, from the statistics I have seen, and I don't have great detail, although I press very hard with our PR firm, and I'm always curious about Newsday and even the Herald, that why don't they highlight our district, because our district is diverse, is mainly minority and mainly black. So, and when you compare academically to other districts of similar, not only just minorities, that race and national origin, but socioeconomics is a part of this too. We score better, you know, our outcomes are better. How that translates into jobs is even a bigger issue because, you know, I mean, it's not easy to get a job, period. You know, and I'm reading the signs up here before the meeting started, and I can see that, you know, black men have a higher concentration of HIV. Black men get arrested more easily, you know, readily. You just see what's going on in the news now. So it's a systemic issue in this country that is, in my opinion, very hard to overachieve, you know, to overcome and achieve. But I do agree that it's more of a grassroots effort, and that things that could be done is reaching out to corporate America and reaching out to the community to offer up jobs for our graduates, you know, and try to help each other along those ways. It's not easy out there. But I think the more successful a student is academically, graduates, and is able to get to college, gives them that much better of a chance to get a job, regardless of someone's gender or somebody's race. So,
Thank you. Okay. This is both of you. AIS budget seems to go up every year. How can such high teacher salaries, including raises, be justified, especially with the small class sizes that Malvern maintains? Can we read that one again?
Wait, before you
Yeah,
answer,
I
are
need-
cards being circulated out? Do people still have questions that they want to write? Because those blank cards should be circulated so people can write their questions as they go along. Does anybody need a blank card? Okay, because I need one.
I'll do that one again.
Okay.
That was a lengthy one.
yeah.
All right. AIS budget seems to go up every year. How can such high teacher salaries, including raises, be justified, especially with the small class sizes Malvern maintains? So Joey,
I think I'm up, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So for those that may not know, AIS is part of Common Core, right? So those students who, I believe, fall into that level 1, perhaps the lower levels of level 2, are as part of a plan to the state, go into a remedial type of class to get extra help in whatever the subject is. So I just wanted to put out there what AIS is. And it does cost money to do that. It does other things too. It takes that student away from, you know, perhaps music and physical education and other things. So it's a tough balance. And again, pressure from, you know, raising the bar for this country is where this is all coming from. With good intent, maybe it's just not the best way to roll it out. The AIS, though, I don't know how that necessarily ties to teachers and their salaries and raises. For those that may not know, is that the teachers are part of a union. There's what's called a collective bargaining agreement, and the way in which they're paid, both on their base salary together with these things called steps and lanes, I don't want to get too complicated, is what generates somebody's salary. And I think that we, as a district, have been fortunate enough to keep our class sizes down, but I think, and I'm not going to put mistakes on the spot, but if you ask the teachers, and only my observations from my 9th grader who started in kindergarten with Miss Cherry, with 14 kids in the class, and you look today and it's pushing close to 25 plus, class sizes have grown. And you know, it's appreciative of our teachers who've been able to still keep a high quality level of education with not any other extra help, from a class size of 14 all the way up to 25 plus. So I don't see how the two connect, you know, in the sense that it's AIS and it does cost money, but by the same token, salaries and what teachers earn are under a collective bargaining agreement that's not negotiated by a teacher, but by a union, and an association in management. That's how salaries are derived.
Can I just clarify something? AIS has been in the district since I've been in the district. It just wasn't derived from Common Core. It was derived because of children that did not meet the grade, that they would then be taught after school, and then also within the daytime as well. It's not just Common Core, so we didn't have Common Core 15 years ago when I came on board. It's because children do not pass, and we're mandated by the state to try to raise their score so that they can pass, and that's where the AIS instruction comes from. It's a mandate from the state.
And those services are actually good for children who need them. But as you know, what it became, I guess that's my part now. These services are good, but again, some bureaucrats decided that when you draw a line, that anybody who scores 2 and lower, 1, will automatically go to those services, expensive services. But they figured out, because they did cut off, that 70% of children didn't pass this line. So our district would send 70%, for example, of students there for extra education. It would be all across the state. They figured out that it's impossible. So this rule went nowhere. They just died somewhere in a drawer. And it really doesn't have a relation to teacher salary. It doesn't pay them more. Some districts solved it that they hired per diem substitute teachers. They are paid a little less for that. So it doesn't have effect. And but if I wanted with these AIS services, they were good. They were before Common Core. But when teachers again are trying to prepare for the tests, these services became just another preparatory hatchery for releasing students, preparing them for the test. So again, parents found out what they said: dear teacher, you will be teaching during these classes what the kids need, and you are not going to prepare them for the test. But again, you have to be involved, talk to the teacher, and find out what's going on in the classroom.
Thank you. Okay. This question is for both of you. You believe that it was a good idea to extend 100 funds contract, and also the second part of that is, why hasn't the Board of Ed actively sought a replacement for 100 funds? I think Jan
I can't hear the question.
first.
So I should speak for the board, or why?
Right.
Can
Well,
you repeat?
opinion.
I'll translate that question a little bit. Can you repeat that question?
Sure.
again, please?
Do you believe that it was a good idea to extend 100 funds contract, and why hasn't the Board of Ed actively sought a replacement for 100 funds?
All right. Well, my view is exactly opposite. What I think it's really, it has negative